The arena pulsed with energy, a sea of faces illuminated by the harsh glare of overhead lights, their cheers blending into a roar that shook the rafters. In one corner stood JANIBEK ALIMKHANULY, Kazakhstan's middleweight titan, his face carved from stone, eyes locked on his opponent with the focus of a man who'd never tasted defeat. His gloves, red and gleaming, tapped rhythmically against his thighs, a quiet ritual before the storm. Across the ring, CRISTIAN Olivas, Mexico's tenacious contender, bounced on his toes. His compact frame radiating defiance, his dark eyes burning with the fire of a fighter who'd clawed his way to this moment. The crowd split between waving Kazakh and Mexican flags erupted as the announcer's voice boomed, introducing a middleweight clash that promised to be a spectacle of skill, heart, and raw power. JANIBEK, the southpaw technician with a reputation for dismantling foes with surgical precision, was the favorite, his record unblemished, his movements a study in controlled aggression. Olivas, the underdog, carried the weight of a nation known for producing warriors who thrived in the face of adversity. The bell rang, sharp and clear, cutting through the noise like a blade, and the fight began. Round 1 was a chess match, both fighters probing, cautious but calculated. JANIBEK glided across the canvas, his jab snapping out like a whip, quick and precise, keeping Olivas at the end of his reach. The Mexican, shorter but stockier, moved with purpose, his head bobbing as he weaved through JANIBEK's punches, looking for an opening. He threw a double jab, testing the Kazakh's defense, but JANIBEK's head movement was flawless, slipping the punches with ease. Olivas landed a glancing right to JANIBEK's ribs, a small victory that drew cheers from his corner of the crowd. JANIBEK countered with a straight left that caught Olivas on the cheek, not enough to hurt but enough to send a message. This was his ring. The commentators, their voices crackling through the broadcast, were already dissecting the action. One praised JANIBEK's technical brilliance, noting his ability to control distance with his jab. The other highlighted Olivas' courage, stepping into the lion's den against a taller, longer opponent. As the round ended, both fighters returned to their corners, their breathing steady, their eyes locked across the ring, each man knowing the real battle was just beginning. The second round saw Olivas shift tactics. He came out with fire, his feet planted as he stalked JANIBEK, determined to make this a brawl. He threw a left hook to the body, the impact echoing through the arena, followed by a right that grazed JANIBEK's jaw. The crowd roared, sensing the Mexican's intent to disrupt the Kazakh's rhythm. JANIBEK, unfazed, absorbed the body shot and fired back with a sharp uppercut that caught Olivas flush, forcing him to take a step back. The Kazakh began to find his groove, his jab now a punishing tool, snapping Olivas' head back with each connection. Olivas, though, was relentless, ducking under a left cross and digging a hard right into JANIBEK's midsection. The punch made JANIBEK's eyes narrow, but his composure held firm. The commentators were animated, one saying, "Olivas is bringing the pressure, trying to turn this into a dogfight, but JANIBEK's counters are razor-sharp." The round closed with both men trading blows in the center of the ring, neither willing to yield, their faces marked with the first signs of battle sweat streaming, cheeks reddened from glancing shots. By the third round, the fight had caught fire. JANIBEK started to assert his dominance, using his reach to pepper Olivas with jabs that landed with increasing force, each one a thud that echoed through the arena. Olivas' face was beginning to swell, a red welt forming under his left eye, but his spirit was unbroken. He charged forward, slipping a jab and unleashing a flurry of body shots that forced JANIBEK against the ropes. The crowd was on its feet, a split between cheers for JANIBEK's precision and Olivas' relentless heart. JANIBEK spun out of danger, landing a right hook that staggered Olivas, though the Mexican's legs held firm. Olivas fired back with a combination, a left-right that caught JANIBEK off guard, drawing a gasp from the audience. The commentators were in awe, one shouting, "This is a war. Olivas is taking punishment but giving it right back." The round ended with both fighters breathing heavily, their corners shouting instructions over the crowd's chants. The energy in the arena electric, a living thing that pulsed with every punch. Round 4 was where JANIBEK began to pull ahead. He controlled the ring like a maestro, his footwork cutting off Olivas' angles, his jab now a battering ram that landed with sickening force. A cut opened above Olivas' left eye, blood trickling down his cheek, but he fought on, his Mexican pride refusing to let him falter. He landed a looping left hook that caught JANIBEK on the temple, a brief moment of triumph that sent his supporters into a frenzy. JANIBEK shook it off and unleashed a three-punch combination jab right hook, straight left that rocked Olivas back on his heels. The crowd roared, sensing a turning point. Olivas, blood now streaming down his face, grinned defiantly, as if daring JANIBEK to bring more. He pressed forward, landing a body shot that made JANIBEK grimace. But the Kazakh's counters were relentless, each punch landing with surgical accuracy. The commentators were beside themselves, one exclaiming, "JANIBEK is picking Olivas apart. But this Mexican warrior just won't quit." The bell rang, and the fighters exchanged a nod. respect forming in the crucible of combat, their gloves stained with sweat and blood. The fifth round was a brutal affair, a testament to the heart of both men. Olivas, sensing he was behind, came out swinging, his punches wild but powerful. He landed a crushing right to JANIBEK's jaw, a shot that could have ended lesser fighters, but JANIBEK's chin held firm. The Kazakh retaliated with a devastating uppercut that snapped Olivas' head back, followed by a left cross that sent sweat spraying across the canvas. The crowd was in a frenzy, chanting both fighters' names. As they traded blows in the center of the ring, Olivas' body shots landed with sickening thuds, each one a test of JANIBEK's resolve. But the Kazakh's defense was airtight, his elbows tucked, his head slipping side to side to avoid the worst of the onslaught. He countered with a straight left that staggered Olivas, whose legs wobbled but refused to give. The commentators were losing their minds, one shouting, "This is boxing at its finest, heart and skill colliding in the ring." The round ended with both men exhausted but unyielding, their faces battered, their wills forged in the fire of combat. Round 6 saw a return to strategy, both fighters pacing themselves after the ferocity of the previous round. JANIBEK relied on his jab to keep Olivas at bay, each punch landing with a thud that drew winces from the crowd. Olivas, blood now caking his face, looked for openings to land his power shots, his eyes burning with defiance. He managed to trap JANIBEK against the ropes, unloading a flurry of punches, but JANIBEK's defense was impeccable, his body weaving to avoid the worst of the assault. He spun out of danger and landed a counter left that rocked Olivas, whose knees buckled briefly. The Mexican stayed upright, his pride refusing to let him fall, and fired back with a body shot that made JANIBEK wince. The commentators noted JANIBEK's composure, one saying, "He's a master of distance, controlling this fight, but Olivas' heart is keeping him in it." The bell sounded, and the fighters exchanged a glance, mutual respect deepening in the heat of battle, their bodies pushed to the edge but their spirits unbroken. The 7th round was the climax, a moment that would define the night. JANIBEK, sensing Olivas' fatigue, turned up the pressure. His jab was relentless, opening new cuts on Olivas' face, his straight left landing with devastating force. Olivas, bloodied but defiant, landed a right hook that briefly stunned JANIBEK, a flicker of hope for his supporters. The Kazakh shook. It often unleashed a combination that would etch itself into boxing lore. A jab to set the distance, a right hook to turn Olivas' head, and a crushing straight left that landed flush on the Mexican's jaw. Olivas' knees buckled, his body crumpling to the canvas in slow motion. The crowd's roar deafening, a tidal wave of sound that shook the arena. The referee stepped in, waving his arms as Olivas struggled to rise, his eyes glassy but still fighting. The fight was over. JANIBEK stood tall, his hand raised in victory, while Olivas, ever the warrior, nodded in respect from his corner, blood and sweat mingling on his face. The arena erupted, fans chanting JANIBEK's name as replays of the knockout flashed on the big screens, each angle more devastating than the last. The commentators were effusive, one declaring, "JANIBEK ALIMKHANULY just sent a message to the middleweight division, this man is a force to be reckoned with." The other added, "CRISTIAN Olivas showed the heart of a lion." But tonight, JANIBEK was untouchable. In the post-fight interview, JANIBEK, sweat still dripping from his brow, spoke with quiet confidence, thanking his team and praising Olivas' toughness. Olivas, his face swollen and bloodied, vowed to return stronger, his voice steady despite the defeat, earning a nod of respect from JANIBEK. The crowd gave both men a standing ovation, a testament to the heart and skill displayed in those 7 grueling rounds, a fight that had lived up to every expectation. As the lights dimmed and the fighters left the ring, the moment lingered, a snapshot of what makes boxing so compelling. JANIBEK's victory was celebrated across Kazakhstan, his name splashed across headlines, his face a beacon for young fighters dreaming of glory in dusty gyms. In Mexico, Olivas returned to a hero's welcome, his courage in defeat earning him respect that transcended the loss. The highlights package would be replayed countless times, fans dissecting every jab, every counter, every moment of drama that unfolded under those bright lights. For now, though, the ring was empty, the canvas stained with the evidence of battle, the crowd dispersing into the night, carrying with them the memory of a fight that embodied the essence of the sport. Two men, from different corners of the world, pouring everything into those fleeting minutes, leaving nothing behind but a story of heart, skill, and unyielding will. The legacy of JANIBEK ALIMKHANULY and CRISTIAN Olivas didn't end in that ring. In Kazakhstan, JANIBEK's knockout was hailed as a national triumph, his name echoing through the streets, inspiring a new generation to lace up gloves and chase their own dreams. In Mexico, Olivas' grit became a rallying cry, his refusal to quit a testament to the warrior spirit that runs deep in the nation's boxing culture. Both men, in their own way, had added to their stories, their paths likely to cross again in the unforgiving world of the sweet science. For the fans, the fight was a reminder of why they loved the sport, the raw emotion, the test of wills, the beauty of violence tamed by skill. Somewhere, in a gym or a living room, someone was watching those highlights, their heart racing, dreaming of stepping into the ring themselves, chasing the same glory that JANIBEK and Olivas had fought for. Under those unforgiving